Hello everybody, welcome to Mark Van Human. If you haven't met me before, my name is Mark van Straden. Today I'm going to be talking to a friend of mine, Gale, and I'll talk about him in just a minute. But I want to say that we're in the middle of downtown Umhlanga. The Oaks are building a massive building across the road there. So you're going to hear them shouting and that. But I'll tell you what, the content of what we're going to talk about is really exciting. And so welcome and God bless you. How's it, Trev?
Mark.
Nice to have you with us.
Thank you. Good to be with you too.
I'm with my friend Gale. He is the author of a book called The Middle. Anyway, we'll come back to this. Trev, lockdown. This is the first time you and I got together. Just tell us a little bit about what you do for a living, and what you're about.
Yes, I'm with Apple Tree.
Okay.
We support organizations to shape and sustain good culture.
Right.
So it's all things to do with people and leadership and how we work together on a daily basis.
Now, how's it been affected during lockdown?
It's been industry and client dependent.
Yeah.
So naturally, for those clients that have been affected more so than others, they've focused on averting the crisis. So business has been pretty tough, I guess, with good old cash flow and just maintaining momentum in the work that we do.
Okay, and you're married to Toni. You've got two daughters, eh?
Two daughters, yeah,
Ages?
7 and 3.
7 and 3. Brilliant, Brew. So listen, Trev, what has been one of the things during lockdown that has been kind of like a good thing for you? I mean, what is if you had to say, I mean, listeners, we're 3 months into this deal, and if you had to look back over the 3 months and say, this was the good thing.
When it comes to external environments being completely open, you've got freedom of choice. You can decide where to go, you can decide what to do, and in a way, what I've been grateful for is that the restrictions and some of the pressures that this whole lockdown thing has placed on the external environment, some decisions have just been made for you in a way, and you've been forced to be present in what is and not fight what can't be. And so I feel like it's almost stripped away a bit of the superfluous. It's stripped away some of the stuff that hasn't been necessary, and it kind of has helped me make some decisions.
Oh, really?
That I potentially would have still been wrestling with if the economy and everything else was just rolling as it is.
Yeah. What has been probably one of the hardest things for you during this time?
I'd say up front it was the claustrophobia, and I don't know if it was just my personality style, but I really struggled with being at home, the small children, up front, just not having the ability to move and to go, and feeling like I'm stuck here.
Yeah.
That season passed as I began to accept the situation and obviously see the benefit of being in proximity to my family. But that was definitely one of the hardest things that I had to walk through in the early stages.
Yeah. I think we all found that. I think especially those of us who enjoy going out, and you're a real exercise fanatic. You've been doing stuff, and that's been hard for you as well.
Yeah, and so love to travel.
Yeah.
Love to be out in the mix. Love to go out and explore trails and go running. So not have any of that, but in a way I've almost then also realized that some of the stuff I haven't necessarily missed as much. I don't necessarily look forward to getting on a plane at 6 a.m. again. I'm happy with just the way that it's transpired.
And were you able to work from home? I mean, did it work? I mean, you've got 2 little kids in a 3-bedroom apartment.
Surprised myself. I actually always thought I wasn't able to work at home. It's why I had external offices.
Yeah.
But I think once you set up the space, and then secondly set up the boundaries, and then thirdly just let go.
Yeah.
To have my little daughter on my lap watching me do something is actually a pleasure, whereas in the past my perception was that it would be a distraction.
In your way.
And now it's great. So it's weird how work and life is sort of integrated quite powerfully by working at home, and being close to the children and having them a little bit more integrated in what I do. I feel like they almost know a little bit more about what Dad is about, which has been great.
And Trev, if you had to say, my big takeaway from this is going to be, or maybe has God spoken to you around anything in this stage, in this kind of weird space that we're in the uncertainty of the space?
It probably goes back to that sense of claustrophobia, and it's the whole idea of don't fight.
Yeah. It's interesting. What do you mean by don't fight?
We're always trying to fight stuff forward. We're always trying to push stuff forward. For people who have a sense of vision and goals, you've got a clear idea about what you want to achieve, and then by when, and what must happen to get there. And feel like God's brought me back into a place where I'm really walking more in partnership with Him, and I'm
Wow.
letting go of my preconceived ideas about pace,
Yeah.
and starting to really enjoy the journey a whole lot more, and the timing of that and the understanding of how it's going to play out,
Okay.
because you can't predict this stuff.
Yeah. So, in a sense, I know Christine was saying, she broke her ankle, as we were talking about earlier, and she realized she really had to let go, because now she's really, physically, never mind all the normal restrictions. In that space of letting go, is there not some room also to say, well, what is my next thing?
There is. I had to do two things. I think the first thing that I had to do in letting go is, what have I been missing out that's right in front of me because of my busyness and my drive?
Yeah.
And so for example, time with the children in the season of their lives, that was amplified.
Okay.
And I think perhaps in the past, because of my drive, I was missing out on some of that and putting my hand to all these different activities. The second thing was, yes, what else is possible? But I think something that COVID has taught me is deep diving into why, and making that decision with a lot more discernment and a lot more prayer than, that's a good idea, let me run at that,
Yeah. If you look back and then you move into this, where we use the language of new reality. That's what everybody's talking about. So there's more uncertainty, there's a new reality. The thing that you're going to take forward into the new reality, if it is some kind of normal, let's say you can travel again, you can exercise it at will and where you want to go, is there anything you think you'll just carry forward?
Yeah, I'd say the one thing is it's confirmed that my work and what I put my hand to is about people. It's about people transformation. It's about my commitment to human and organizational potential. So the love of what I do and why I do it is still there.
Yes.
I think the biggest thing for me going forward is, what's the how? And looking at the how through a completely different lens, as you say, with the view that unpredictability is ahead, but also that within that unpredictability, do the stuff that counts.
And so you reckon your filters to figure out the things that count, they've been refined a little bit in this period?
Yeah, definitely. So it's for example, I am important. Like, I need to look after myself. My family is important. I need to look after my family. My work is important. I think potentially the balance of that was a little bit out of kilter. And I think a lot of people, when this lockdown thing drops, the potential to just go back into the original patterns of behavior, that's the temptation. But to hold on to the sacredness of the things that are around you is probably, for me, the most key thing that I'm going to move into the new space with.
It's interesting because I've watched guys who've had like near heart attacks. Then they go and they have these stents put in, and then they change their diets, and then 8 months later they're living like they used to live. I mean, there's that risk that we do that same space, isn't it?
Yeah. In a way, the fact that we're going to be potentially moving into a more relaxed lockdown phase fairly soon makes me a little bit anxious, because I think what I'm looking to do in the next few days is to actually make the decisions around endings.
Yeah.
Because if you act on the stuff to protect going back into those things in the future, then there's a little bit more of a commitment rather than a theoretical, I must remember this when things are back to normal.
That's brilliant. Trev, your book, just give us a little bit of context to the book.
Yeah, so as you can see, it's called The Middle. I don't know if you can see the cover. It's flanked by the word start and stop. So the middle I define the middle as the territory that we must all navigate in pursuit of our goals. And so obviously it's that land between that which we start and that which we finish. The context is that I was privileged enough to spend a year riding around the world when I was 18.
Yep.
And that was for me the university of the middle. It was where I developed, I suppose, the start of my journey of developing what I call middle intelligence. And when I talk about that tour, I don't talk about the start and the finish, I talk about the middle. And since the tour, for the last 20 years, I've shared stories from the tour and the insights that have taught me how to navigate the middle of the tour, but also the middle of every other area of life. So it's dedicated to anyone who's journeying through the middle of career, entrepreneurship, marriage, parenting.
I love that. The word middle intelligence.
Yeah.
So that's really what the book's about,
Yeah.
developing middle intelligence.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that is because we're always in the middle of something.
Yes.
You know, I mean, I know years ago at the Gale they talked about the land between.
Yes.
So it's very much a similar kind of idea. And he says the land between is either fertile soil for complaint
Yes.
or fertile soil for growth.
So I always say a finish is just a transition to a middle. So the day I finished the tour, I was straight away transitioned into a new start.
Yes.
And I mean, Tones and I were married for 4 years, and then we had Ella. So we entered into a new start then. So we're always in the middle. And if we learn to navigate the middle well, then our experience of the middle shifts.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the heart of the book, is to try and enable and encourage people to really find joy in the middle, enjoy the middle, navigate the middle well, deal with whatever is being thrown at them.
Trev, thanks so much. You're going to give me your details and I'll put them in the link in the description below. So if you want to get hold of the middle, I would highly recommend it. I haven't read it. Trev only gave me my copy today. I mean, like his second favorite oak. So I've got a copy. I'm going to read it. But this is what I do know, is I know Travis. We've known each other for about 20 years. And I think you'll love this book. If you're going to watch this from a corporate point of view, you want to deal with your culture in your corporate and make work an inspiring place. In other words, I mean, you believe if people get along with each other, you can get more production. What's the tagline on that whole thing?
So the middle deals with really developing our ability to bring grit and resilience and endurance into our walk.
Yes.
Apple Tree, for us, the statement is good culture is good business. So
Okay.
it's encouraging organizations to invest in culture
Yes.
because of the impact on performance and engagement overall.
And you're driving two things. You're driving the middle intelligence thing, and good culture is good business.
Yeah, so the middle is really focused at individuals and teams who have to navigate tough terrain to reach ambitious goals.
Yeah.
And that's a partner brand to the Apple Tree Group, which is really a collection of individuals and brands that impact on people and culture.
Oh, brilliant. I love it, man. I think you've done so well. Trev.
Thank you. Well,
And,
thanks for all your encouragement and support along the way.
Cool. Cool. Thanks very much.
Cool. See you soon.